Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here today for the third time in a row with some leaks, and here we're gonna talk about different things. We're first gonna talk about the Annihilator because we finally have access to the statistics. After, we will talk about the upcoming Battle Pass. We are gonna talk about the stats of the upcoming new VK agent. How is the Battle Pass gonna be, like all the stages. We're also gonna discover the Korn event right now because I have the infos on this as well. And finally, we will finish with the statistics of the upcoming STG, a tier 8 medium Russian tank that just entered testing. I don't even know if the tank is in test yet or if they start this test Friday, but who cares. Let's start with the Annihilator, the brand new collectible tier 7 Halloween reward tank, and I want to tell you one thing. We're gonna focus about the gun because the rest we already talked about it, but you take 14.38 seconds to reload your whole clip, and there is 0.33 seconds between each shells, meaning you will unclip your shells in 0.66 seconds, and you have a really bad gun dispersion, 0.38. Just want to remind you that these values are when the tank is not equipped. When you properly equip it, you can probably drop it down to 0.34, maybe 0.35, which is not the greatest gun dispersion ever, but still a good one. And if you really have 210 alpha damage as these video suggests, it means that you're gonna have 630 alpha damage every 12, maybe 13.5 seconds if you use the gun Rama, which is quite impressive for this tank. The second news I want to talk about concerns the upcoming Battle Pass for the Agent tank. We have several stages and we can go on them one by one as this video is showing us everything there is to know. As you can see, there is the MX-40 coming back into the game as a collectible tier 4 tanks. For those of you who never played that tank, it's a really troll and popular tank, not because the tank is actually good, but because it looks like a duck. And that's pretty much why this tank is coming back. I think that's Wargaming ways for us to get access to those meme tanks they had to remove from the 5.5 update, and I think it's a cool gesture to make it come back. Unfortunately, as you can see on the video, the MX-40 will be available only if you buy the premium battle pass. And something that really impressed me about this new battle pass is how good the reward for the premium pass are. It's simply amazing. Just look at this. In the first 11 stages of this battle pass, we will have the possibility of getting nearly 1 million credits and 500 golds. We also have access to those special avatars, but that's something I don't really care about, so I'm not going to focus on that. We have some free epic boosters. We also have those first victory boosters, or I don't know the name, you know. The thing you can equip your tank with, which will multiply the experience you do in battle by 5. And for the rest, as you can see here, we have new camos that the guy here equipped his tank with. I don't really want to talk about camos because it's really subjective. It's either you like it or not. Of course, as they are not historical, I don't like them because I'm more into historical camo, but you can differ. We also have these vaults. As always, I mean, the vaults are something really known in the Battle Pass. That's pretty much why people are buying it. But people also spend their money on the Battle Pass because we have some new tanks. And here the new tank is the VK Agent. I'm not gonna talk much about the tank. You already know what this tank is all about. It's basically a VK2801 made as a premium tank. Here we go. The only really cool thing about this tank is probably the attachment Wargaming put on. I love the laser thing at the top of the turret that makes it really looks like a spy. And I think that's the goal with this tank. It also features an amazing animated camo. Even if I'm not a big fan of this kind of stuff, so I gotta say that this is a pretty cool gesture from Wargaming because it really looks good and alive, you know. And talking about the tank, for those of you wondering about the statistics in the game, for the moment, here they are. We have a lot of leaks, and I managed to share as much as I can, or at least as much as I can find. And there is no exception to the agent being in the list. And to be fair, when we compare the statistics of the agent tank with the VK one, you don't see any difference. You know, most of the time, at least in the previous Battle Pass, when Wargaming implemented those new tanks, for example the Thunder, it has more armor than the KV-1S. For the Eraser, it has a bigger alpha damage gun than the ARL-44. But here, It's just a copy paste, literally, of the VK2801. So really nothing to be excited about. I mean, just take your regular VK and reach it and you have the agent, basically. So... nothing really new and exciting about this new battle pass, but I'm gonna buy it anyway, of course, because I want the rewards that are coming with the battle pass as well. But I feel like it's weird for Wargaming to just put the exact same tank and to make it premium just because it has a special attachment, you know. But hey, if it works, at least the tank is not broken. But of course, the agent is not the last reward of the upcoming battle pass. You will also have access to some upcoming stages, which will grant you some camouflage, credits, I mean the traditional things we know. The common thing about this battle pass and the previous one we had featuring the Eraser is probably the number of stages, as here it's the same as before, it's 80. So it's really cool to have that much stages because it will allow you to grind permanently for a whole month. It's gonna be the same as always, you know, you have missions, you complete missions which will grant you some special charms or whatever current currency you will have together, and by gathering those, you will be able to climb your way up to the last stage, which will grant you this amazing background profile for your garage and for your statistics. It looks really dope though. I gotta say I have some kind of a James Bond vibe by looking at it. Now let's change the subject of the leak and talk about the Korn event. For those of you who follow the channel 2 or 3 days ago, you see I did a video talking about an upcoming Korn event and we didn't really have any informations on it. Now we have more than informations, we literally have the whole event in front of us. All I can show you here are the rewards because I literally don't have a clue how you will be able to gain the charms or currency or whatever you need to grind this event. All I can tell you is that it's gonna be a combined event with the regular Halloween event, as it's gonna be available during Halloween as well with the Annihilator one. I gotta be honest, most of those things are probably special things to keep in your garage, but nothing more. I don't think, for example, the Korn tickets here you can see on the screen are gonna grant you access to maybe a special crates that will give you a chance to win whatever thing. Now I think those things are here just as a reminder you participated in a Korn event. I'm not expecting Wargaming to give away a free premium tank as they did 2 weeks ago with the 75 TS event, so let's not be hyped too much for this one. The only cool thing is it features 2 days of premium, it's already that taken, so it's fine. And finally, for the last and main leaks that we didn't talk about previously, we will talk about the STG, which is an upcoming tier 8 medium Russian tank. It has 2 things that makes it special. The first thing about this tank is that it features an amazing 122mm gun, which means you will have 400 alpha damage on a medium tank. And the second thing, and the most obvious one by looking at the tank literally, it's the first ever medium tank implemented with a rear mounted turret in this game. And I'm gonna tell you why you should be excited about this. Simply because, if you remember correctly, a while ago Wargaming announced that they were working on 2 new branches this year. One is already out and it's the Krenwagen, and the second one is a Russian line, because Wargaming confirmed it was a Russian tank. My guess is, if they are implementing a medium premium tank with a rear turret, it means that they're gonna try to implement a tech tree based on that model. Which means that we can expect a new tech tree tank to hit the game being a Russian medium with a rear mounted turret. And the only tech tree branch in World of Tanks PC that features rear turreted medium tanks is the Object 430U. So yeah, we are probably gonna get that tank in Blitz. I just hope they are gonna balance it a little bit more than it's the case in World of Tanks PC, or else we are all doomed. Now let's target the STG a little bit more. As you can see, 400 alpha damage, which means a really low rate of fire of 4.2 rounds in a minute, which means an average reload time of 14.3 seconds. Of course, you will be able to decrease it by simply putting gun rammer and all that stuff, but hey, that's long. And if you combine that really long reload time with the fact that your gun dispersion is over 0.40 because you have 0.41, it means you have one of the worst, if not the worst tank in terms of accuracy at tier 8. So it's probably not going to be a popular tank if Wargaming doesn't do anything about this. We could also talk about the average penetration, which is regular with your regular shells, 190, and good actually with your gold shells because you have 260. I want to remind you that as it's a 122mm, the same you have on the Russian heavies, you're probably gonna have heat as premium shells, which means you shouldn't shoot with gold shells in the tracks of your opponent because heat shells don't go through spaced armor. The main thing about this tank is probably its turret armor, which is quite broken for a tier 8. Look at this, 210 at the front. Of course, you have a huge cupola, so people are gonna probably shoot you there, but still, having 210 will make a difference, especially if you're playing against tier 8s or tier 7. Against tier 9, maybe not if they use gold shells, but overall, it's enough to sustain yourself on the battlefield if you manage to get into an all-down position. Concerning the mobility, it's a little bit different. As you can see, you still have a really good top speed, you shouldn't struggle too much getting into position, but I think the average speed of 38 km per hour means you are really a fast tank, and if you combine that with the amazing hull turn rate and the turret turn rate, you will have one of the best tanks in terms of mobility at tier 8. So overall, to be honest, I don't really know what to think about this tank, because it combines a good mobility with a good turret armor, but the fact that the gun is really bad in terms of DPM is probably gonna make it a little bit hard to play. I'm not expecting this tank to be OP, but I think it's gonna be a good tank as long as you know how to play it, same as it's the case for the Panzer 58 Muts or the FCM 50 ton. It's definitely a tank made for pros, as you gotta make every single shell count, especially when you have 14 seconds of reload, so definitely not a noob friendly tank. The only cool thing about this tank, and what I'm really excited about, is that if they are implementing a rear turreted medium, sorry, it means that they're working on rear mounted tanks as mediums in whatever branch, if it's Russian, French, who cares. But it means that they're preparing something, because I want to remind you that most of the time, how is Wargaming testing how some new tanks, or at least some new features, will affect the current meta? They put a premium version of it in the game and check the statistics and how the players are responding. If I'm right, we can expect the Object 430U to hit the game pretty soon. I hope I'm wrong, because the Object 43U is a goddamn good tank. But I'm trusting Wargaming developers to not make it broken. I mean, they know what they saw the damage done by the tank in World of Tanks PC, and they will try not to do the same mistakes here. Now, the last but not the least, let's talk about the STG while we see one playing. How did I access to that knowing that the tank is not in test yet? It's simple. A friend of mine is a modder, and he just went into the files, changed and reskinned a regular tech tree tank into the STG for you to see, and he changed one or two things about the tank, allowing you to see how it performs. And that's pretty much what the STG will be all about directly into a game. The main reason of this replay is probably to show you the gun depression of the tank, which works the same way as if you were playing on the VK9001P. For those of you who have the VK9001P, you know that you have around 4 or maybe 5 degrees of gun depression with your tank being in front of your hull, and when you put your tank on the sides, you have a little bit more gun depression. On this tank, it's exactly the same thing that is present. You can artificially increase your gun depression by putting your gun on the sides of your tank. Now to finish, the main thing we need to talk about concerning this tank is probably its price. I know a lot of you are thinking, okay, it's a new tank, it's a new premium tank, it's a Russian one, Wargaming is probably gonna put it in crates. I disagree on this one. I don't think they're gonna put it in crates simply because this tank is definitely not among the broken one at tier 8. It's an only effective tank if you know how to play it. You need skill. And therefore the fact that you need skill to play it make it not OP. Of course, Wargaming is gonna play on the hype they will create around the tank to justify its price, which will be probably around 12.5k gold, which is clearly too much for this tank. But hey, that's the price to pay to have the exclusivity of being in the first one to play it, so I don't mind. As long as it's not in crates, I don't mind. This video is now over. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, like and share, and I'm gonna see you soon, probably in a new video or for some more leaks, who knows.